Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I thought we would just have a discussion about you're starting about thinking modelling's for you. Let's talk about the sort of kits, and this is just my thoughts on why I think perhaps the age-old method of getting your starter kit, getting your nice cheap 1/72 kit is perhaps not the way to go in this day and age. And I'd like to talk about the reasons why I think that. So stay tuned to this video and we'll get straight into it. So, a little bit of history, I guess, just briefly. Generally, I've got a pile of kits here. In the good old days, you would go to your local shop, whatever. You're either a child or you're an adult and you're wanting to get back into it. Whatever it is, it's your first model kit. You thought, I'm going to give that a go. You would grab a starter set. Why wouldn't you? It's got a brush, it's got all the paints you need, glue, the model, and even the stickers, transfers, decals or decals ready to go. Now, I personally think this is gone. The days of this really don't exist anymore. And the reason for that is this is got a number of things going against it, I think, for someone who wants to get into the hobby in this day and age and then progress forward. These are perfect for young people who want to get into it and maybe just paint it on the kitchen table. If you're out on holiday and you've got children with you and you want them to do something constructive and you're in the UK, camping holiday, something like that, or you're in a caravan, you can do this on the table, anything like that. And I'm probably guessing that's kind of where a lot of this is aimed at anyway. It's not really aimed necessarily at someone who thinks, I'm going to buy an airbrush, I'm going to buy all the setup, all the paint, get everything. I've seen loads of videos on YouTube, followed loads of Facebook groups, I want to get into this, I'm going to start here. I don't think that's probably what this is for. And I don't think, if you're going to take the hobby seriously, this is where you should be looking. I think you should just ignore this for a number of reasons, including the scale. I think, one, it's just too small for most people to start with. There are benefits to 1/72. It's very quick, so you could have this built in an afternoon. Could you have it built well in an afternoon? Probably, actually, probably. But you start getting into the point where the cockpit is very small, the glazing is very small, there's things happening on it that a lot of the parts are extremely small, which isn't always a great way to start. It can be a bit off-putting, and if you think, oh, you know, I'm going to build models like this for the rest of my days, it can be a bit tricky, and you might find this kit's actually all right, but generally with Airfix as well, you've got to meet them halfway. Some of the fit isn't great. On this actual model, it is generally good. The canopy's a bit iffy. I think you should go for Tamiya. I don't think you should look any further. You should buy a model kit that is Tamiya. Now, if you want that to be a tank, or you want it to be a plane, even if you want it to be 1/72, it should be Tamiya. My reasons for that are, the kit is extremely well engineered. They always fit extremely well. I think in their whole catalogue, the only one anyone could really make any debate over is about one kit in the aircraft series and possibly one in the armour series. So that's a really good record to have. We just have a quick look. Now, this is a swordfish. I mean, no one's going to pick this as their first kit. It's a biplane. But if I can get in the box, very good boxes. Now I've got extras. You wouldn't be getting extras, so we'll ignore the extras. You get a great big, clear, pure colour instruction. Don't get this with everything. They've kind of got, if you think of their 1/48 frames, they've got like a kind of, budget's not the right word, they've got a kind of basic range and then a higher end range. This would be on the higher end range. But just to give you an idea, you can get the swordfish in 1/72 from Airfix. Now 1/48 fits this big, and the wingspan is this big. So you're dealing with a plane that is, if you bear with me, about that wide and that long. It's much bigger. You can see what you're doing. The part count isn't massively over the top. Now, granted, I wouldn't really be using the swordfish as an example generally. If you go for some of their discount kits, like the original Spitfire 1, the Spitfire Trop, the Corsairs, the Wildcats, all of those sort of kits, the 109, they're called 2 sprue wonders. Now, the whole kit comes on 2 sprues in a box with your decals and your clip arts. They're absolutely brilliant kits. Fantastic. And then if you want to progress, you can go on through into some of the more modern releases, like the re-release of the Spitfire, which comes with a bit of photo etch, which is very thin metal. You just cut off, use super glue. Usually it's things that are thin, like belts. This is rigging wire, for instance, on this. On the Spitfire, it's usually fine bits in the cockpit, etc., etc. You don't always have to use it. You get more marking options. Some of them come with masks as well. If you want to know, there's a good example of photo etch for you who are new to photo etch. You've got coloured and uncoloured. Just gives you an idea of the sort of things you'd want. You also get canopy masks going forward, which you cut out and you can stick them on, and then you can spray your canopy. So all of that actually starts to come with the kit, and you should use some of the resources that we'll get into on another video to understand each kit and what the breakdown is. Look at reviews, see what you get in the box, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of research that can be done. And I think this hobby, like any other hobby, you shouldn't just jump into it with a £5 kit that you find in the local shop, because, you know, if you're going to start golf, do you just go and buy the cheapest set of golf clubs off of Amazon and start hitting them in the park? You might do, but it's not really the way to go about it. You want to think about what sort of setup you want to go, what club you want to join, what course you want to go and play at. You know, there would be an amount of research, and that's really what I'm talking about here. Something like this hobby, it's worth putting a little bit of time in, because you've got the assets, you've got the resources there for you to be able to do that now. And, you know, we didn't, certainly when I was starting, you didn't have it. You make the Spitfire in your bedroom with your dad, and then you see what's at the toy shop, you go down that route, you maybe buy a magazine, everyone's put in photo etch and resin in these things, and you think, well, what on earth's all this? You go to model shows, people are doing the same thing. It was quite difficult. Then forums start on dial-up internet, so the image goes like this as it loads on the screen, and you go, okay, I can now see the very out of focus image. And then you had to make your best guess. Now with YouTube, with Facebook, you can talk to people directly on Facebook in groups. You'll get 100 comments on one little post of what paint should I use, how do I thin Tamiya paint, you know, what's the ratio, what pressure should I use, etc., etc. Also, you can get an airbrush setup, I'm going to say for £40 in the UK with a compressor. I mean, and it's as good as what I've got there with a £100 airbrush for at least 6 months. You know, it's going to last you. You can go to your local shop, your Hobbycraft or something like that. You can buy Tamiya thinners, Tamiya paints in a weekend with prime delivery. You're away. That hasn't been the case for a long time. You have sanding sticks, the fantastic Infinity sanding sticks. Well, these were, you know, £10 for God knows how many. Again, off of Prime. So there is a lot there now for you to be able to get to where you want to be fast. And then from that point, you can hone your skills and go on through and think, okay, I want to be airbrushing extreme camouflages, I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that, I want to go down this route. So the reasons behind picking 148, because I did digress there a little bit, it is extremely easy to see what you're doing. You've got plenty of detail there to pick out. You don't have to pick it out, but it's there if you want it. It's not just little blobs. If you want to start doing your washes, because you see them on Facebook and YouTube, you've got lots of nice detail, refined panel lines. You've got everything you need in the box, generally. This doesn't have masks. But Tamiya, being Tamiya, usually give you helpful information in the instructions. He says, now he's sweating, it gives you the idea of this is at the start of every model. You see what you should be using, the tools. So you can go out and get your tools, you can get everything sorted, you've got Tamiya extra thin. Oh, Tamiya extra thin. Let's just spend a moment on that. Give me a second. When we start, we get a glue tube like that. I will have a look. I don't think it's in here. I think as soon as I buy these kits, I chuck it out. It's a little bit of tube of stringy glue, right? Those days are gone. Never do that. You don't need to. By Tamiya extra thin. This is also referred to as TET, Tamiya extra thin. This is fast setting. This is normal setting. You can tell the difference by the tops. It is quite useful to get a little tray because you can knock them over if they're not in a tray. You can't if they are in a tray. This is capillary action glue. The old way of doing it is you've got two pieces, you put a bit of glue on there, you put a bit of glue on there, you bond it together, the glue sets. The glue is holding the two pieces together. This melts the plastic, so you use a capillary action. So you get your part and you put it together, and there'll be a little seam like that, like at the bottom of my fingers there, and you just dab with the brush that it comes with, if we just have a look, like that, and you just dab that along the join. The glue will run through the join and it will weld the plastic, so it will soften both bits of plastic and they'll weld together, and if you push them, so like a fuselage join, you get a little bead of melted plastic. When that dries and hardens off, so next day, sand that back, you don't have a seam. So that is a game changer. So that's another thing that's happened. And another reason why you should use Tamiya, because it works perfectly with Tamiya plastic. It's like designed for it. It's just unbelievable. Now, looking at a very basic kit. So if we take the Airfix equivalent, this is the Airfix 1/72 109 that I was having a go at. I've actually almost can't bear to do it because the canopy doesn't fit after I've sanded back all the flash, and you can see how thick the cockpit sidewalls are, and I'm going to have that open, and I think, you know what, I don't think I can be bothered. The Tamiya version is done in 7 sequences. There's your instructions. You've got the same thing again. Use Tamiya extra thin, clippers, knife. It explains to you what you need to do as you go on through. Very clear, lots of marking options. And you are good to go. What the kit comprises is 1 sprue, and it's all on there. The canopy is separate. You can open it, you can close it. It will fit, unlike the Airfix one. You've got your set of decals in there as well. You've got extremely nice recessed panel lines. Can we see that? There we go. You just see those panel lines running down and on the wings. The fit is incredible. The detail is fantastic out of the box. You also get, if you're brand new, a little tech tips guide telling you how to do different things, what to clean off, how to go about doing the rest of it, clipping nicely. So we've got using the glue, tweezers and clippers, and then there, sorry, I'm struggling to see here, so we've got a knife and a bit of sanding, and on you go through. So they do cater for you. You don't get this sort of thing in basic kits. So Tamiya understands. So Tamiya don't do starter sets. You don't need to. If you get a model, you get this. You can learn along the way. Another great reason. Again, the kit, not massively expensive. And in 1/72, the 109 is actually one of the smaller planes. But you can see the detail doesn't run too small. If you were to look at the Airfix kit, in fact, I can't because I haven't got it there. What we'll do, hold on. You're not going to have the same crispness. You're going to have large sprue gates. You're going to have problems getting it off. It's all jumbled together. It's across 4 sprues here for the same size plane. And the refinement is just not there. So by all means, try it, see if it works for you. But you may find you have a better run of it if you build a couple of Tamiya kits. once you've got your model built, it does give you paint mixes and spray cans that you can use for the camouflage. So if you don't want to use an airbrush, you've got that option. And when you're all said and done, you have a really nice model ready to go. That's my views if you're looking at aircraft. I personally think start on a single engine fighter or a small jet, depending on what your interests are. Start with Tamiya, build a couple Tamiyas. Don't actually worry necessarily about getting into the painting just through the first few. By all means, give it a go. Do not expect to have fantastic results straight off. You can if you apply yourself, but it's good to make the mistakes as you go through and learn from each one. And if you start on some of these 1 sprue or 2 sprue wonders, you can do that. Then as you progress through, you've got your building together. You know how to build a kit. You know what the different parts of the model are going to require to get up to the level you want to get to. And then from there, you can progress then into the painting, and you'll find somewhere along the line, you'll find that Tamiya kits aren't challenging you as much, or you want something different. Well, then you can have a look at different manufacturers like Edward, who come out with photo etch and masks all in the same kit. Things like Meng and some of the new Japanese manufacturers, or some of the more tricky Tamiya kits, and maybe get some photo etch of yourself and maybe fill that out or whatever, build it out of the box. But you can progress in your own time, knowing that you know what a good kit is. If you go down this route where there's problems as you go on through, they're cheap kits, and obviously for that the engineering suffers, the quality suffers, the actual build and finished model suffers, you may find by the time you either then stumble across a Tamiya kit, you think, oh wow, I didn't realize it could be this good. Or you may not even get that far. That would be my worry. You may grind yourself out somewhere along the line. I'm not saying don't use these cheaper, quicker kits, Airfix, Revell, things like that. But maybe, you want to go into it knowing what it is. And perhaps as your first model, you may be going into it with the wrong ideas. Starting with the quality coming from a Tamiya box, it's dependable, you can rely on it, and it is going to get you to where you want to be, I think. But it's just my personal view. That's with aircraft, and it is the same with tanks. A Tamiya model kit as a tank is basic and ready to go. So if you're an advanced modeler, it's not going to be offering you the sort of things that you'll want to be getting down the line when you do get into like the Rye-Field models, and you come with photo etch and you come with everything you need. You're not going to get that in their tank kits, but what you are going to get is extremely well engineered, cleanly molded and fantastically designed models. You are going to sometimes get, and they're trying to do this now, get with the times, you're going to get interlinking, link and length tracks, where you get a whole length of tracks together, and then you get single links just to go around sprockets and things like that. You usually get rubber tracks, I will give you that. You get the same informative instructions, very clear, some of the clearest instructions you're ever going to get, and usually get a data sheet telling you what you're meant to be doing. There's an example of the tracks, as you can see. So you put one long length across the top, you put small links around the end. So it's again, it's a good way of getting into link and length is a good way, as we've done on the channel, is a good way to bridge the gap between rubber band tracks and then more detailed single link tracks, where it's all about getting the sag. That's all it is. Tracks are heavy, they should sag. Rubber ones spring up. You get a diorama in a box as well, usually. I mean, you've got these couple of figures, you've got the scene, all you've got to do is bring it to a base, and it's a wonderful kit. 3 or 4 options, fantastic. This is brand new. Well, I say that, it was brand new, what was it, 2020. They've only had a couple releases since then. The figures are phenomenal, really good. Some of the detail you're getting. There's got a bit of an interior as well on this one, so a good way to sort of bridge the gap of whether you want to do, because it's got an open compartment at the back. And again, we've got link and length tracks. So that there, I think, as an introduction to scale modelling, should get you well on the way to be able to go through what you should some fundamentals and some basics, and to get you on the right track, to get you into taking modelling a little bit more seriously as an adult hobby, shall we say. This would be an extremely good route into it with a Tamiya kit, single engine fighter aircraft, or any of their tank range, even some of the older stuff, to be honest. If it's in the tank range, it's a good kit as far as building it. Accuracy aside, it's a very good kit, so you can trust that as well. That's the main point. You can trust the Tamiya brand. These 2 stars is quality. I don't know if you can say it for some other manufacturers. There is variability in the models, not with Tamiya. That's my main point. Hope I got that across on this video. If you like what you see, thanks for staying tuned. Let me know your comments down below if you are new or if you've got different thoughts or maybe you disagree. Again, these are just my opinions on what I've seen over the last few years being in this hobby. I'll do a few more videos like this as we go on through, maybe talk about how you can get into airbrushing cheaper, how you can try and progress things a little bit easier, where there might be some stumbling blocks or it looks like there's sort of barriers as to starting. Well, I don't think there is. I think you can get into this hobby, and it's one of the cheapest hobbies you can start with. Not if you buy a stash with 1,000 kits in it, but if you have 1 or 2 kits on your shelf ready to go, a cheap airbrush out of Amazon, something like that, a few paints that covers a few subjects that you want to do, I think this is one of the cheapest hobbies you can do. The best thing is you can go from your living room into your model room, into your kitchen, into wherever, lap tray on the sofa while the TV's on, whatever. It's not a problem. It's not like I need to get my golf clubs out, I'm going to go fishing, I'm going to start collecting cars. All very expensive hobbies. This is not. And hopefully over the next couple of videos I'll be able to show you why I think that is the case and why I think it's a good hobby for you to start with. As I was saying, thanks for staying tuned. Let me know your comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already to stay tuned to the content, and we can follow these videos as they go on forward. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a couple links in the description which you can follow and do that. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.